Is Clarity. This is a program in which we talk about issues that affect us on a day-to-day basis. The idea of the program is to make sure that we understand things in their greater detail. My name is Zaine Bwanali, and today I want to talk to Mr. Zaine Bwanali, who is Head of Sales for Skyband Corporation Limited. Mr. Bwanali, welcome to our program.
Thank you so much, Chawezi.
Sure.
Welcome to Skyband as well.
Beautiful, thanks very much. You've heard me talk about clarity. Just by the name itself, as it suggests to say, we want to get clarity of what you do as Skyband Corporation. Because people perhaps just know Skyband from afar, but today we just want to give our viewers a chance to understand what exactly Skyband Corporation Limited is all about. To begin with, Skyband Corporation Limited is in the business of doing what?
Well, Chawezi, thank you so much, and once again, thanks for giving us a chance to, to talk to your viewers.
Yes.
About our company Skyband and what we do. I think, in short, maybe a lot of people might say Skyband is in the business of selling internet, but then we look at it differently. We look at it in a way that we are in a business of selling connectivity. So, I mean, if you want to speak to someone or communicate to someone within Malawi or outside Malawi, our services enable you to be able to connect with whoever you want to connect with. So I would like to say we are in the business of selling connectivity. In the business of selling connectivity, we understand that when we talk about selling of connectivity, there are so many players that find themselves to be in this particular industry. Skyband just happens to be one of them. That's true. We have to look at this particular industry. It attracts more players because of perhaps the relevance that it has in today's digital world. Absolutely. Everyone wants to get connected. Absolutely. Across the world. Absolutely. All over. Sure. Now, I want to find out, how do you find competition in this particular industry? Well, I mean, it's true that we have a lot of players within the industry that we're in. I think competition, everybody always talks about it, competition is always healthy because it benefits the consumer, yes. The consumer. And then also us as a company, it keeps us on our toe. So all the time we're always looking at what our friends are doing. We're always trying to make sure that we are putting ourselves a step ahead of everybody. That's the only way that you can set yourself aside. So we very happy to have the competition in the industry, but then I think for us, what is there is how you save, because I would say anybody can start up a company that sells connectivity or internet, but what happens after that? Exactly. That is what is important. So I think what sets Skyband apart from possibly the rest of the players within the market is what we do after we've sold that service. Yeah. Maybe you may wish to afford our viewers a chance to understand, why should someone be a customer or a client over Skyband? What is the competitive edge that you wield on the market? Okay. So, as I already said, we are in a business of selling connectivity. And then again, also, as you've said, there are different players within the market. Once you've sold the service that we've sold, not a lot of buyers I'll put it that way, really understand the technicalities of how it works. So we as Skyband, we have a team that really understands this, and then we have this team that is always available 24 hours of the day to our customers. Whenever they have a problem, we're able to assist them. We have a call center in Blanta that is 24 hours. If you have any issues any time of the day, night, we are there to assist you. I think that is what sets Skyband apart from the rest of the other players that is there. So that is what I would say for Skyband. A couple of months ago, you launched the Metro Fiber Network in Lilongwe. We also understand that it is also present in Blanta. Any plans by Skyband to make sure that you also roll out across the country so that the issue of inclusion or inclusivity has to be taken on board? All right. First of all, thank you for coming to the launch. We always appreciate you guys to come and see what we're doing. Exactly. So for quite some time, when we provide services to our customers, we used to do it over a wireless solution. So say maybe your offices are in city center. We have antennas on some of the towers that when you come subscribe service from us, we'll point those things to your office and then give you services. Over time, the challenge that we've seen that customers are demanding for more bandwidth, and wireless solutions, they've got limitations. So Skyband, for us to be innovative, for us to still be able to give, to meet our customers' demand, we have invested in this Metro fiber network. Metro, as it says, is for city.
Yes.
So we are moving away from the wireless solutions as it was. Now we are trying to go to the fiber, which is more like a fiber string all the way to your office, and the capabilities are limitless. Probably where you see that on the wireless you can go only say 20 MB, for instance. You get some equipment that would not go over that. With the fiber connected to your building, whatever you imagine in terms of bandwidth, we can give it to you. So it's something that with this investment that we've done now, I think it's going to be able to suffice for any demand probably in the next 20 or even more years to come. So this is for a long time that we've done. So yeah, we're happy to save any customer that will come, and then we're able to deliver quality service to all the customers that might want to come and join. Yeah.
The Metro fiber is bringing on board, maybe just talking about cities, but these days when we talk about the digital world, we also bring in the question of inclusivity.
Yes.
There are people in the rural areas, there are people in other cities, and not only Lilongwe and Blantyre.
Yeah,
any plans by Skyband to make sure that you also expand to other regions and of course other districts if possible?
Yeah, so for now, as a fiber project, we've started off from Lilongwe here. We are in Kanengo, we are in city center. Right now, as a project, we're coming down to Old Town here. So we've started off in Lilongwe here. Very soon, we also started off in Blantyre. But you will agree with me, those are our main cities where, we have a lot of people within one area. So it's easier with fiber to connect everybody. In the rural areas, it's not saying that we're not able to save services. We still have the wireless solution because it's easier to save customers who are far apart.
Exactly.
So you probably get one customer, for instance, I would say the NGOs would have an office in say maybe Salima, or maybe Salima, not really a good example, but in where you don't have a lot of offices, we are able to provide service wirelessly in those locations. So they are still included. It's just that I think fiber maybe might take a bit of time to reach this kind of radius.
That reminds me of one very important question. Yes. What are the customers that you have, or which are the markets that you're serving in Malawi?
Well, basically, as I said, we're in a business of connectivity. Whoever wants to connect with anybody, anywhere, that's our customer. But I think maybe just to answer your question in more detail, we look at our customers in two segments. We have the home customers. We have particularly, products that is, designed for that customer. And then we also have the corporate, because these two customers, their needs are different. So we have, products that are meant for these two segments that I've just mentioned. So basically, everyone who wants yourself is our customer.
All right, beautiful.
Yeah, sure.
We take a short break and then we'll continue with our program just after a minute.
Thank you.
Remember, today we're having clarity, and our guest today is Mr. Zaine Bwanali, who is the head of sales for Skyband Corporation Limited. He's giving us a bit of clarity in terms of what they do as a business. Don't go away, because we'll be right back shortly after this break. Once again, welcome back to our program Clarity. Today we are talking to Mr. Zaine Bwanali, who is the head of sales for Skyband Corporation Limited. He's giving us a bit of clarity in terms of what they do as a business, and of course affording you a chance to understand what Skyband is all about. Their customers, what exactly they want to do in Malawi as a business. Once again, my name is Jawes Banda. Welcome on board for a second time our program Clarity. Welcome back, Mr. Bwanali, to our program.
Thank you so much, Awezi.
Sure. The other question that I want you to help us here is the issue of accessibility and affordability.
Absolutely.
Malawi is said to be one of the countries within the region that does have perhaps high rates of internet service provision within the region. What is the explanation, Mr. Bwanali?
Well, this question always comes up from time to time. The way we look at it, it's different. It's not really that we have high rates. I think for Malawi case in particular, it's an issue of affordability. Malawi is a landlocked country.
Yes.
You will agree with me on that one. And for us, if you see the services that we get, we have to connect to the fiber cables which are within the ocean. I'll be happy to show you on the map there how we connect to the rest of the world. We have to go via Mozambique. We have to connect with our counterparts in Mozambique to take us to the Indian Ocean. We also have to connect with our counterparts in Tanzania to take us also to the ocean that side. And yeah, if you compare with a country like say Tanzania, say Mozambique, and probably Kenya, I think is always coming up. They are along the oceans, and for them to connect to these cables, the submarine cables that are running along the oceans, it's straightforward.
Yes.
For us, we'll have to look at the cost of buying the actual internet bandwidth when we connect there, as well as the transport connectivity from the ocean, which we have to pay to the other carriers which are within these countries. So because of all that, our pricing is different from the other countries which we are neighboring with. That being said, also, I think, if you compare, there were some studies that we actually did. We looked at our cost per megabyte in Malawi with some companies in South Africa, for instance. It worked out to be our costs here were slightly lower. So whenever we get this question to say our prices here are high, well, it's debatable, I would say so. But I think for us, it's a question maybe of affordability. Maybe our economy are not as big as our friends, and not a lot of people probably can easily afford it, like our friends within the other countries. So that's how we tend to look at it. But on the positive side, the prices are actually coming down very quick. I'll tell you, at the beginning of this year, a price of 1 megabyte, you'd get it for around $600. As we speak right now, you can get the same for less than $250. So you see, within 6 months, prices have come down that low, and I do know that there's going to continue coming down. So yeah, I think it's been unaffordable for some time, but I'm here very soon things will change.
All right. On the very same issue of accessibility, I was looking at some literature which talked about the divide which exists between the two genders, males and females, in terms of the group which is absorbing a lot of internet services. What can you say about this from your experience as perhaps head of sales?
Well, I think, these days, whether there is, male accessing the internet or if it's the female, I'll honestly tell you, I don't see that there's a gap. The young generation, whether it's a boy or girl these days, they're open to all these things just as good as anybody. So maybe that might be true for the older generation, but I think right now things are changing, and then everybody is able to access just equally. I know that there's also initiatives that are going on out there where you get girls competing on developing apps, for instance. We do partner with organizations like, I don't know if you've heard of MHub, where they really have girls coming up and then developing apps, and like that you can really use out there. So the younger generation, I don't think they really look at that gender, whether this person is a male or that, and then assign, things to each gender. I think things are changing, something that probably that might be true for maybe our generation or even before, but I don't think so for this generation.
Do you think internet speed in Malawi leaves a lot to be desired?
Well, I think that comes back to the issue of pricing. You know, I mentioned to you to say, I think 6 months ago, you'd buy 1 MB for around $600. Right now, you get the same for around 250 or less. So speed, it depends on how much you're getting.
Is that so?
Yeah, sure. But we got some other products, that the ones that I mentioned for the home. All right, those are not based on speed. They are based on data. Like if you have a phone and then you have data in it. For our services which are similar to that, the speeds can go up to 20 MB. All right, as long as you've got data in your gadgets to use, the speed's unlimited. So things are actually changing right now, that depending on what product you are, the speeds are much faster. One of the things that we've also noted in our industry these days, because of openness of the world, there is Netflix. A lot of our customers wanting to watch movies online.
Yes.
There's a lot of demand of that, and that can only work if your speeds are very good. But we have customers that now are able to watch movies online without it being buffering or loading and things like those. So speeds are improving. It depends what product you have on. Again, I think at the beginning I mentioned to say that we offer support to our customers. If you have bought the right service for whatever you want to use, then you will tend to enjoy. But then if there's a mismatch, like you were trying to save probably, and then you buy a product which has the least speed, definitely it's going to affect you. So this is one of the things that I think sets us apart, because we're able to understand what you want to do the service with, and then we'll be able to advise you what is the right product for you.
All right, as we approach the end of our program, I want to look at the general picture of the internet service industry, where perhaps there are also issues to do with cybersecurity, because we know that there's a lot of abuse and of course perhaps some bad language which is used on the internet. Is there anything that you can do just to make sure that you protect the users that perhaps use internet through your organization as Skyband? I don't know, as an internet service provider, you have got a role to play to make sure that our cyberspaces are free of abuse, free of perhaps derogatory language, and that if there is at all anything that you do as an internet service provider. Mr. Bwanali.
Well, you see, for our services, we always, tell our customers to say, you should, this, fair usage. You also have to not use it for anything that will, harm anybody and so forth. If that's reported, obviously, as a service provider, we discontinue that service. But I think the onus also is on the users there to make sure that as much as this is a good product, and then it opens opportunities, but also the onus is on a user to make sure that it's used for the right purposes. I think also, as a country, we always have to make sure that, we're developing our providers, or, the guys who are providing service, to be up to speed with what's going on out there. If countries like maybe, UK or US, they actually have a department within the government that is monitoring this kind of maybe fraudsters, for instance. So if we are investing in that, we should be able to stop these kind of things from happening. But then you'll agree with me. I mean, it's very difficult for a company like Skyband. We can do so much, but then I think as a country we need to do even more to make sure that people don't abuse services or use it for wrong things.
All right.
Yeah.
Maybe just to ask a more direct question to Skyband. When doing business, everyone does have the idea of making profit and keeping afloat. We know that you can't tell me that you operate a seamless operation at Skyband. There are always challenges that do rock businesses in the world. What are some of the challenges or commercial inefficiencies that you encounter along the way of doing business in the country?
No, okay. I mean, I'll be honest with you. We have been lucky that we haven't really encountered a lot of challenges within the business. But I think one of the things that comes top of my head right now is maybe sometimes you find that customers are not able to pay, in time. So those are things that we have to manage to make sure that we still have, cash flow to still, keep afloat.
Exactly.
To operate. But then I think from time to time you get those kind of challenges. But so far we have not, gone to in a place where it's even choking us that we can't operate.
Exactly.
So those are things that we manage on a daily basis.
In other words, you're saying the business environment is just okay.
It's fine so far. It's fine so far. I mean, economically, we have challenges. We have organizations probably that are downsizing.
Exactly.
Those are things that affect us, because if maybe one organization had another branch in another place, and because of they are not able to sustain that, they close down. That means if we're providing services there, that's also affecting us. But yeah, so far it's nothing that we cannot survive. It's been fine.
To satisfy my curiosity, if someone comes and asks you a question to say, how do you contribute to the economy of Malawi? What are you going to say, Mr. Bwanali?
I think, one thing is we're able to employ. We have over 100 people that are working within Skyband. I think that's
across the country.
Yes, across the country. That's one thing. And yeah, so to be able to offer employment to Malawians, I think is one of the things that we're proud of. Again, as I mentioned, we from time to time we're always partnering with startup companies. I mentioned MHub is
Yes.
one of the organizations that we're always working with from time to time. So we are always there to support organizations like those that are doing something that we know is positive and is developing Malawi. So yeah, I think those are some of the ways that I believe we've contributed.
Casting a 5-year vision, where do you see Skyband?
Well, I think we believe as Skyband we are the best player on the market, and we want to continue, maintaining that position in the market. I think with the rollout of the fiber that we just put, that will just help us to be, cement our position within the market. So
Your final thought, do you think there's still room for improvement in terms of the internet service industry in Malawi?
yeah, definitely. I mean, if you come to a point where you're saying that we've done it all, then there's no growth.
Exactly.
There is definitely room. If you look at the world over, things are changing. That's where we'd also want to see Malawi or Skyband as a company to be recognized, internationally as one of the biggest players on the market. So definitely there is always room to improve.
Do you think we've got an equal footing to compete with those within the region in terms of provision of this particular service?
Well, in terms of services, I think we can. But then, as I mentioned, the challenge with us being a landlocked country is that we have additional costs, which other operators within Africa might not have.
Yes.
So because of our position as a country, we will always have that challenge. But I think with time that's going, as I already said, pricing are coming down across, and it's also being passed on to the customers here. So yeah, I mean, with that disadvantage that we have, as you might call it, but in terms of how we provide services to our customers, I think we can, we're equal.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bwanali, for taking time to talk to us again.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. Sure. That's where we end this edition of Clarity for today. In this edition, I was talking to Mr. Zaine Bwanali, who is head of sales for Skyband Corporation Limited. We have delved deeper into what they do and, of course, into what the industry for internet service provision is all about in our country. Room is there for improvement, just as Mr. Bwanali has said. All we need to do is to make sure that we get organized so that we should also be able to compete fairly against other players within the region. My name is Zaine Bwanali. I'm just wishing you all the best as you keep watching MBC and enjoy the rest of our programs.